So what are some cheap performance tunes? You're on a budget, just like all of us are, and I feel like today we have a great way to go over some cheap performance tunes. And, of course, other modifications, as you'll see later in the video. So let's get started, shall we? First up is the sway bar and links. This is definitely one of the bigger ones we should go over. These are some incredibly simple installs and have some of the biggest performance changes. You can get adjustable ones that'll improve how stiff or hard your handling is. You want a stiffer handling for tighter turns and more snappy response, or you could have a looser handling. Now, here's the ones I bought, okay? These are official VW Audis. I bought them from ECS at around $100. And I would say they're definitely a big improvement now. Now, these are, of course, some of the VW officials. Now, you can buy adjustable ones like this. These adjustable ones are also nice. It all depends what you want. Now, today's budget's going to be roughly $1,000, depending on what your budget's looking like. So without further ado, let's get to the next segment. Our second affordable performance mod here is, I'm not going to pull the cover off because it's a whole lot of work. It's going to be the ignition coils and spark plugs. Here's a picture now. They run for about $200 off of APR. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to make for better ignition, snappier response, and overall a better fuel economy. I feel like that's definitely one of the things to bring up here. Now, performance and fuel economy don't often go hand in hand, but it will definitely change, I promise you that. Now, these red-tipped ignition coils, like there, often come in like Audis, which is why people get the red-tipped ones and put them on their VW. It really doesn't change anything, it just makes it look sportier, which I'm all for. So I feel like that is definitely one of the things that I'm about for this. So yeah, that would definitely be one of the bigger ones for me. That's something I'm yet to do with my car. I'm going to get a tune-up kit here that's going to have NGK, spark plugs, which I like, and a fuel filter. Now, this is a little off the side of the video here. It's on the other side. I'm going to do my fuel filter because I've been having fuel economy issues. But I have a tune-up kit that I'll put up now. It's about $200. And let me find it right there. I don't know who UFI is, but it's definitely not a VW fuel filter. So I'm going to replace that. A video will be coming on that. So that's a little sneak peek for you. Oh, jeez. Almost fell over. So that is the first part of our segment here. Now, another bonus thing I'll add in here that I guess technically relates to performance is your oil changes. Everybody's for liquid moly. I'm yet to try it, but I'm for liquid moly entirely. See, my oil's getting kind of black and dirty. So that's going to be something. Another thing I'll do with the tune-up kit. So you can see, look at that. The color of that oil. It's still pretty clear. Looks pretty good. Not so much add ATF in there, which, as you know, prevents burning oil, but also makes your oil look dirtier. So there's that. Now, what I will say is, with this tune-up kit that I'm going to get, that I'll pop up on the screen again now. There you go. There's a lot of stuff in it that's going to be helpful. I'll show you how to do air filters and whatnot. But I feel like that's really, really cheap. Now, I work for a dealership, right? So I get a discount, roughly 25%. So what I did was I went on my VW dealership website and I put in all the items that kit included. And what I found is it's about $300 with all that stuff, including my discount, if you were to buy it straight from the dealership. Now on ECS, or was FCP, sorry, on FCP, Euro, that stuff was only about $210 and it was VW official. So I feel like that is definitely one of the big things worth getting about, and I will definitely show you and make a video on all of that, I promise. So that will wrap up our ignition. Our next thing is our crank pulley. That's all the way at the bottom of all these pulleys. I can't really get a good angle on it. That will probably be one of the biggest improvements you'll notice, because that pulley does have weight, and when you make it lighter, it spins faster and easier, which can generate more power. I showed in the picture here. That will obviously cost 137, and that will definitely make for more power and a quicker 0 to 60. Why would I want a quicker 0 to 60? Because this isn't a Toyota, it goes fast. So, yeah, that's definitely one of the cheaper ones. Now, the one thing I will warn is labor. Labor can get quite expensive when it comes to doing engine work. So you're gonna have to do your research and how much people want to put. I really don't know an easy way, because if you look all the way down there, I don't know if you can see, it's pretty sunny out, I can't really see. That very bottom pulley is blocked by the subframe. Even if you were to move this wheel well, I don't know the likelihood of being able to really get in on that. So yeah, that's something else. So yeah, you're definitely gonna have to do your research on labor on that, because that's definitely gonna be a big deal. That labor could range so much. I definitely would try to look for a more local shop with that if you're trying to be on budget. Just always at a dealership, it goes on your service history, which is always good. And at a small shop, it doesn't necessarily. Now there's one coming through. It's like 80 degrees out. It's super hot outside. So there's your. Our next part is our engine air filter. Now there's several ways you can go about your engine air filter. You can get one that actually just, you know, your basic engine air filter. You can get a K&N one that goes with these, obviously not a cold air intake or anything like that. And that can run about 50 bucks. Now, if you decide that you want, you know, a cold air intake or something like that, then your price is going to drastically change. That could be anywhere from 100 bucks to 1,000, really. It just depends what all you want to get into. So I feel like that for the filters part is definitely important. If you get a K&N, you're just go in and out just like a normal filter. If you're to do an air intake, you basically work off the throttle body here, all the way along here. You'd have to move this, and that will come over to here, and your air will come in from there. So that would be your air intake. Otherwise, you just remove the screws on the back of this cover, slap a new one in, put the screws back in, you're good to go. And that alone can make a huge improvement for sure. So next up, I want to talk about tunes. Now, most commonly, your tune's going to plug in under here to your OBD reader. And there's so many different things to explain with these. Now, you could cheap out. You could go with one of the plug-in ones, and those aren't necessarily known as being the most reliable. But I have no experience, so I can't tell you. I have no experience with tuning on my Jettas so far. I really haven't gotten that far with them. So this is all from what I've read and researched, so take it with a grain of salt. The chips supposedly suck. Supposedly. I'm going to say supposedly just because I have to cover myself here. The chips supposedly suck. Now, when you go with something more reliable like integrated engineering or ECS tuning, supposedly those are good too. Now, it depends on what you want as well, because most of these tuning chips, you have to have certain things to accommodate them, like exhaust or cold air intakes or things of that nature. So you have to keep that in mind when you're going to buy a tune as well. Now, tunes can range from dirt cheap to like thousands, especially if you decide to put your car on a dyno or something of that nature. It's just completely up to you and what you want. Now, what I will say is DSGs are notorious for being great transmissions, so I would not stress. What I will note is DSGs can only handle 350 horsepower. Of course, when you get into different models like the Type R and stuff like that, they of course change throughout, and the GTIs and stuff like that change. So, but if you have a base Jetta, well, not a base Jetta, but like an SEL, SES, these can only handle 350, so don't go overboard with those or you're going to blow your transmission. You definitely don't want to do that. So 350 is the top out for these. I would try to stay under 300, especially with the tunes, and that is probably your safest bet when it comes to these, because you don't want to blow your transmission. That's extremely costly. Now, you can upgrade your transmission on another topic, and we're talking on a budget here. If you're upgrading your transmission on a budget, what type of budget do you have? So that's definitely one of the things worth bringing up and talking about here. Another thing is tuning is what Volkswagen is known for. So if you're going to tune, definitely don't hold back on it, because these cars can handle a tune. The 2.5s aren't known for making great speed, but they definitely sound phenomenal. And especially in a 2.5 like this, my main focus is just comfort of driving, because I know I'm not going to make much power out of it. What I can do is make a comfortable drive, which is exactly what I'm doing now with my sway bar end links, my Bilstein suspension, and whatnot. So that is definitely some of the core things to talk about with this video. That budget should leave you roughly around $1,000, give or take. If you cheap out somewhere, go more expensive somewhere, your budget can fluctuate. this is all purely stuff I recommend, and it's mostly universal, honestly, because across all cars, but especially VWs. And for the 2.5s, like all the stuff I mentioned you can do, no big deal. 2.5s are not going to make as much horsepower, but you're definitely not going to regret it. You know what I mean? Now, if you have something like a GLI or a GTI, this stuff expands so much more. You can make so much more horsepower, so much more performance, etc., etc. What I will say is comfort and handling. Those sway bar end links have to be one of the biggest upgrades I've done so far, because the comfort is so crazy. I cannot stress it enough. I don't know how to stress it anymore. Now, what I will say... Hi, Leaf. It's okay. Goodbye. You're just going to stop? You done interrupting my video? Okay. And now I lost where I'm at. Sports pedals, completely up to you what you want to do with those. I'm not touching it. It's way too sensitive of a part. So, there's that. Since we're approaching the end here, what I do want to say is thank you for all your support. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Happy New Year's, happy Halloween, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you want. I'm here. We're pumping these out so much, so get ready for your Jetta experience.